We get a lot of brides on this show, a lot of brides that are watching, wanting some advice, trying to plan their wedding. Maybe they've had to postpone some things. Maybe they are starting from scratch. So, Brandi, what is some advice you would give a bride starting out planning her wedding?
Yeah, so a ton of things come to mind immediately, but if I had to pick one, I think the most important thing for any bride, whether you hire a wedding planner or not, is you have to meet with your fiance and agree on a budget. That is so important. And weddings can get really expensive super fast.
Right,
I think just finding a budget, whether it's $5,000 or $50,000, whatever works for y'all, or even less. I mean, some weddings are less than that. Just figuring out a budget that works for you and deciding how much money you're willing to spend for different vendors, and then be willing to possibly give up some vendors if it doesn't fit in your budget, but having a budget and going from there, because without one, it's just chaos and a mess and it's confusing, and you may miss out on something that you really wanted. And so I always tell my clients, figure out a budget and what works for you, and then pick your top 3 most important vendors between you and your fiance. So maybe it's lots of times the groom's will like the food. I pick the food that's most important, and the bride will be photography, and then like coming together and agreeing on another one. That way you have 3, and then those are your priority vendors, and you make sure you get what you want for those vendors that fit within your budget. And then the other vendors, maybe they don't fit in your budget, and you kind of have to sacrifice or not have it all. For example, videography. Maybe that's just not in your budget and you're willing to sacrifice it, but just having some sort of organization. So visually you can see and agree with your fiance of what you're wanting. It makes it a whole lot easier to move forward.
Okay. And jumping off of the whole budget thing, let's say you have a bride that has a very, very, very low budget.
Yeah.
In addition to maybe cutting down on the vendors, is there anything else you would suggest her to do as far as like maybe besides vendors, maybe dress or makeup, or what are some advice you can give a bride on other ways to cut back on budget?
Yeah, so I believe, in my experience, the biggest way to save money as a whole would be to cut down your guest count. Because your guest really is what is adding to your budget. So with each guest you have is additional food, additional appetizers, so your dinner, appetizers, more drinks, alcohol, table setting, decor for that table, the table itself, the chairs. So all these little things that you're not even, it's just for the person you invited.
Right.
And so some people want that big wedding and invite everybody they know, and that's great. But if you're really on a tight budget and you don't want to sacrifice some of these other things like your photographer, videographer, then just really focusing on that guest count will go a long way.
Okay, great. Now we know all brides have their breakdowns, they get stressed out. Have you had any brides? Well, let me rephrase that question. What do you do for brides that are stressing out during the planning process?
Yeah, so planning a wedding is very stressful. That's why you hire a wedding planner. But for us, our selling point that really makes our clients feel comfortable, like, yes, I want to hire you, is that we have extremely detailed wedding itineraries. We are all about Excel and spreadsheets. And I know everybody's not, but for a client, with our itineraries, they're so detailed and color-coded, and we go back and forth. Yes, I think that's what our company is most known for, honestly, our very over-the-top long itineraries. But usually the groom's like, whoa, that's kind of crazy. But the brides usually appreciate it because they know, I'm not going to have to worry on the day because I'm going to know exactly everything that's happening for every minute. And, we're really flexible. We're not the planners or coordinators that come like, okay, now we're doing this, now we're doing this, now we're doing this. We really kind of adjust to our client's personality. Some of our clients want that. If that's what they want, we can do it. But, most people want it to have a relaxed feel. And we completely understand that. But it's nice having the itinerary and knowing what's coming next, how much time we have, and to make adjustments. You always have to make adjustments. So just having that organization really takes the stress away for our brides. So while they're getting ready, and even the days leading up to, they know, okay, Brandi's on the same page, all these things are going to get taken care of. Because lots of times stress comes from just the fear of something going wrong. There's not a lot of fear of something going wrong if you have something planned and everything you're wanting kind of organized. Now, stuff usually still goes wrong in some degree, but our team is trained and really great at just being flexible and
Right.
really just figuring out what to do in that moment and adjusting. So we just go over that, and then maybe in the earlier stages of a bride stressing out, what we'll do, we'll address her concerns. And usually it's something that we have experienced, and we say, well, I like having plan A, plan B, and plan C.
Oh, that's good. That was going to be my next question, maybe for a bride that
Yeah.
doesn't have a wedding planner on the day of her wedding.
Yeah.
If she's stressed out and there's nobody really there except for family to support her, what would be your suggestion to those brides on the day of the wedding?
So I get it. Sometimes a coordinator or planner is just not in your budget. And before I move on, I would like to say, because I think it's so important to hire, if you can't do a planner, at least a coordinator. Most coordinators will help you save money, like you weren't even paying for them, because they can get you deals and all over the place. So try to at least reach out and see what you can work. But if you can't, then I would say definitely have an itinerary already made out for yourself that you can give to like family or friends that are going to help you. But also, you just need to, might sound harsh, you just have to accept that things don't always go perfect. And just remember, the point of the day is you're marrying your best friend, and that's really all that matters. So if it rains, if the cake falls, if decor breaks, you're still marrying your best friend. But having an itinerary, I think, will really help take away some of that stress, so that you're not looking at it, but someone else knows what you're wanting, so that they can execute it. But then also just taking that time to be like, okay, today is going to be great no matter what.
No matter what happens.
Yes.
Well, on that note, do you have any funny Bridezilla type stories for us that's a bride is just, turned into a Bridezilla?
Well, one, I don't think Bridezilla is fun at all. Don't be a Bridezilla. But no, not really, because honestly, my clients have been absolutely fantastic. I have really great clients. I think in our first consultation, we really just sit down and kind of get to know each other. I like to hear, like, my favorite thing in consultations, whether they book me or not, is like, tell me your love story. I want to hear it. This is why I do this. And so we kind of get to know each other, but then we also, through that process, we get to figure out if we click or not. And so usually if we click, they want to book, right? So we already have that like common ground, and I'm really sure I love in-person meetings. And with we now do like consultations online or over the phone too, but I really prefer in person. And just doing that, it kind of weeds out like that process of, are we going to work well together or not? Maybe one day I'll have a real Bridezilla. Hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. So no, I guess I don't really have a specific answer to that. No, all my clients have been great.
That's so fabulous.